Hey, what is up, headhunters, executive recruiters, beautiful people? This is David Stephen Patterson. You probably know me as DSP. Sorry for running a few minutes late here, but I had some technical issues. But I should be live right now. So give me a moment. I'm going to go and check the live stream. Make sure, in fact, I am indeed live. Yep, I am. All right. So, real quick, I'm gonna tell you what I'll be talking about today. I'll be talking about automation, hyper personalization, and I don't know what to call the next level of personalization, but ultra personalization. Right. So, to give you some context here, all right, and I'm going to give you the context to allow some people to come in to the training. All right. Do me a favor if you're joining now, hit the like or love button. And shoot me a comment down below. I want to try to drive the algorithm. So comment, like, love, etc. In fact, even put hashtag like live if you're watching this live, hashtag replay for watching this on a replay. Again, it'll help me drive the algorithm up. And for that, I will be eternally grateful. By the way, Matt, I see that you just liked the video, and I just got your text, by the way, so I'm going to reach back out to you here just as soon as I'm done. So kind of bear with me here. All right, so let's give you some context here, okay? And I want to probably remind you a few times to like and love this and to comment. Awesome. Thank you, everybody. So basically, here's the deal. Um, we had a post in our Facebook group, the Headhunter Executive Recruiter Community, hashtag Herc. I think it was yesterday, the day before, talking about an ultra personalized way to reach out to candidates and the success. I think Darren actually posted it, and the success he had in that method. And then it prompted a conversation within, like a fairly large conversation within the group, in essence, talking about automation versus non-automation, etc. And so what I want to do here and actually what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pull up that original post, and let's see here. All right, so I'm going to go into the original post here, see if I can find it, and I'll share my screen and show you my response. And what we're going to do today is I'm going to actually show you some of the automation and some of the personalization techniques that we use in both of my businesses that are working really, really well right now. Okay, because automation and personalization do not have to be mutually exclusive. All right, that's really, really key to realize here. Let me see here. Let me see if I can pull up that original post. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Yeah, lots of posts in here today. If I can't find it, we'll just move on. But hopefully, I had everything else prepared except for this one thing. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Got it. All right. So I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to show you. Here's the post, and then we'll talk about my approach to that. So here we go. Bam. And whoop, hey, look at that. You even got my logo. Nice. Um, let's see. Jeff said he's freezing in Ohio. Sorry about that, Jeff. Actually, it's about 65 degrees here in Florida, Tampa, I think, something like that. So not too terrible. But anyway, so this is the post. And what I want to bring your attention is this, because lots of people talk um, about uh, personalization versus automation. And let me see if I can find my comments here to that. Let's see here. I'm probably showing a lot of comments here I should be showing you. Let's see. Oh, here we go. So my thought on this. So here's my comment here. I don't know if you guys can see this or not, but in essence, I say, if you can't see this, I'll read it, that you can do both automation and personalization together. Okay. I have and I will say this, when it comes to cold calls, I've got this argument that I make all the time, that the argument between cold calls and not making cold calls is kind of a silly argument. People say you got a cold call, and others say cold calls are dead. It's kind of both, right? It's like automation and personalization. It's not an either or scenario. And what I say here is, in essence, selective and hyper personalization with your most high value prospects based on what you know about them, but also, and this is the key, their reaction to what you have automated. We're going to be talking about that, okay? And so this is similar to the seed, net, and spear strategy that I learned from Predictable Revenue. This is a book which talks about these sales strategies that launched Salesforce. So this is kind of a modification of it. And we're going to talk about the spear and how that works. But that's where I got the original idea, and then just over time I've just modified it and to the point where I'm at right now. Okay, and so what I'm going to do here is I want to talk a bit about the concept behind it, and then I'm going to share my screen again and show you some examples of what I mean. All right. If you have any questions, post them in the chat. I will answer any questions you have. There may be some things I may not be able to show you because that's for some of my private students or people that are in one of my boot camps, but I will show you a lot. All right. So here's my first, 1 second here. Okay. So here is my thought when it comes to personalization. All right. So first we'll talk about this, and then we'll go into some actual examples of what I mean. So personalization versus automation, right? Think about these two different poles in essence. You got automation over here, you got personalization over here, right? And you can have a variance in between all the way automated versus all the way personalized, right? And there are pluses and minuses to both, right? Obviously, the more automation has evolved, the less outbound energy you need to expend, and the faster you can scale things. So that's kind of obvious, right? However, there's fairly low resonance. You're not really going to be, effectively getting somebody's attention, and that's really the name of the game when it comes to your outbound. Is not to sell them right off the bat. You got to get their attention and get your foot in the door. All right, your outbound isn't selling or isn't closing any new clients. All it's doing really is just getting your foot in the door, ideally, right? But it's low resonance. All the way to the other side is hyper personalization, like what Darren had posted, where it's a high expenditure of energy. It's not efficient at all, but it's really, really high resonance, right? And so obviously you got to make a decision between where you want to stand within that, and that you have to kind of play with it, right? And it's never good to be completely one side or completely the other. What I've done here with the spear technique, in essence, and by the way, if you guys are just joining us now, please hit the like, hit the love, make some comments, hashtag live if you're watching live, hashtag replay if you're watching the replay. Again, just driving the algorithm, so I much appreciate it. So anyway, back to what I was saying. What we do now, and what I've kind of come up with, is a technique to do ultra high personalization based on the responses to the automation. All right. So here's what I mean by that. So now when it comes to automation, there are some things. Sorry, I mean to cut drop. There are some things we can do to personalize your automation. Again, part of the technique is getting a response. That's really key. So what I typically do is we send out automation via LinkedIn and email, right? And I'll show you the stack, the tech stack I'm using for that, right? So we send the automation, LinkedIn and email, and I use very specific messaging that's been working really, really well for me lately, okay? As well as using hyper-personalized images, and I'll show you what that looks like here in a few moments, to get a response. The response may be, and a lot of times is, great email, oh my God, this is really cool, but we're not interested, right? Or I may get a no, right? When I get a response, that gives me something to work with. And then I go hyper-personalized in response. And this is how you can combine hyper-personalization and automation, right? So again, if I send out 100 messages automated, right, with really good messaging and good imaging, and I get a response, based on the response, I'm going to go hyper-personalized, okay? Here's the basic concept, and think about it like this. When you're messaging out to prospects, okay, what happens is uh, you've got a lot of people on LinkedIn, for example, that are getting hit up all the time. All right, they're getting messages to connect, and they're getting messages to sell them something. Like you guys, as recruiters, you're getting messages from these lead gen companies all the time, and they all kind of look the same, right? They are annoying. So what do? You say no, or you just don't even respond at all. Here's why: because they all look the same, right? And oftentimes you don't even respond at all. You just delete it, whether it's an email or LinkedIn. Okay. The reason why is because what most trainers say in emailing and messaging, and this is the Bible, and I'm actually this seems to be a law in marketing, and I'm not really a fan of it, is that your emails need to be short and to the point. I wholeheartedly do not agree. I forget who exactly said this, but might have been Gary Halpern, possibly Dan Kennedy, one of those guys, but some of the really big names in advertising had said this once, and I'm going to butcher this, but basically said that sales letters, which in essence an email is a sales letter, okay, sales letters are not too long; they're just too boring. And what I found is that when you see something in a template and you copy it, it's a nice short little email, and you send it because you think it has to be short and to the point. Here's the problem: everybody is sending the same shit. Everybody's sending the same email or different variations of it, right? And so you're really playing a numbers game here. So my thought is, I go a little bit longer, right? You guys who follow in my stuff for length of time, I write long emails, but I go a little bit longer. But I try to differentiate myself a lot in that email, and I found that I get a much higher response rate than if I go short and to the point. It just is what it is. Now, for many other people, may not agree with it, may not like it, but the results do speak for themselves. Okay, so that said, let me show you some examples of what I mean. And actually, real quick, before I even show you examples, I'm going to give you one analogy real quick, okay? Think about this. Think about the average girl in a club, right? Or an average young lady in a club, right? If there's still clubs nowadays while it's lockdown business going on. They get hit on by guys all night long, okay? She may be single. She may be looking for a boyfriend, possibly. But she gets hit on the same guys all night long, saying the exact same thing. Can I buy you a drink? You want to dance? Hey, how you doing? Whatever, right? And so her automatic response is uninterested, turn away. She's pretending to be on her phone, talking to her friends. I got a boyfriend, whatever. It's just a stock defensive reply because she doesn't want to be talking to dudes all night long, right? Now, what if Brad Pitt walked in, or George Clooney, or Denzel? Pick whatever dreamboat guy you can think of. What if Brad Pitt walks in? Is she going to have the same reaction? Probably not. Right? It's just basic human psychology. Now, what happens is Brad Pitt comes in, taps her on the shoulder, and she's like, "Don't bother me." Then look at him. What's Brad Pitt going to do? He's going to say, "Oh, hold on a second. You probably don't know I'm Brad Pitt. Hey, do you know who I am?" I mean, not that he would do that specifically, but that's the idea, right? So if you're reaching out to prospects and they say no, or they don't respond, whatever, and they're just like, because they get hit up by a lot of recruiters all the time trying to sell them things, and you sound like everybody else, and they go, what do you do? Right? Well, first off, you want to be interesting in your approach that gets you a higher response rate. But even then, they often say no, right? Which is fine. You want to get a response. What do? You tap them on the shoulder, say, hold on a second. You may not know who I am. And then you go hyper-personalize with with a lot of marketing material. And I'll show you what I mean here in a second, right? And to, in essence, show them that, hey, you're Brad Pitt. That's the idea, okay? So with that said, let me show you what I mean here, all right? I'm going to share my screen, and let me see if I have any questions here real quick before I move on here. Cass says, makes sense. Hey, Cass, what's up? Good to see you here. Awesome. All right, cool. All right, thanks for hanging in, guys. Here. All right, so let me share my screen and let me show you what I mean here. Give you some examples. All right. So there we go. There. All right. Okay, hopefully you guys can see this here. So, what should I show you first? So let's show you some messaging that I use. I'm going to pull up um, a a tool that we use called Tactical Link. Okay, so Tactical Link is our in-house LinkedIn automation tool. It's not. I'm trying to sell it, although I'm kind of am really. It's cloud-based, so it's safe. We use it for our tactical clients, which is our lead generation program. However, we are going to be releasing this publicly actually in the next couple of weeks. I know I've kept saying it over the last few months. We're going to release it. I haven't done it yet. We're about ready to do so. We've been testing this really, really heavily. And in essence, what this is, you don't have to use this. I'm going to show you my messaging within here. My messaging, right? That I use, it's a LinkedIn sequence. So imagine like an email sequence that you would use with, say, Outplane, which I also use, by the way, or Woodpecker, or Quick Mail, or some other ones out there, Milkshake, all those, right? You have an email sequence, email 1, and then maybe 3 days later, email 2, and then a few days later, email 3, and so on and so forth. And then when they respond, the email sequence stops, right? And using that dramatically increases your reply rates, right? I first, talked about Woodpecker. That's what I was using originally a few years ago, and not many people were using it at the time, but now it seems like most people kind of know about those email sequences, right? Well, now we can do this in LinkedIn. So I've got LinkedIn sequences. I've got a LinkedIn message 1, a connection request, and if they accept, send another message, like I call it my handshake message, right? Like, hey, thanks for connecting. Usually about 30 minutes after, and then 3 days later, I'll send another one, and then another one, etc. And actually, within, let me share this here, and then within Pipedrive, I'm sorry, not within Pipedrive, within for my email sequences, I actually use Outplay, right? So I use Outplay for my email. What I do is I combine my email and LinkedIn like this through a CRM called Pipedrive. All right. So what happens is, to kind of give you the visual, is when somebody connects with me, right? Once they connect, it sends a webhook out to Pipedrive, and I use a service called Integromat that actually works as the go-between. And in Pipedrive, then communicates with Outplay, and then it gives me the ability to be able to send LinkedIn message, email next, LinkedIn message, email, and I'm alternating like this. And as soon as somebody replies in either system, it shuts both down. It's pretty cool, right? So that's the integrations that we've built. And like I said, we do this for our tactical clients, but for the general public, we are releasing Tactical Link. If anybody's interested in that, let me know, and I'll probably do like a demo on it over the next week or so. Now, in and of itself, that structurally, it seems to work pretty well because we're hitting them up on multiple channels simultaneously, right? And we're doing so automatically. But the interesting thing, however, is that it's really the messaging and the imagery that we're using in the messaging that gets us that initial response, which is what I'm looking for. Because again, remember, it's not so much about getting the meeting right off the bat, although we do get that. But half the time, it's really just getting a response. We normally would not get a response. Once you get a response, you got something to work with. The worst thing in the world that can happen is no response at all, right? As they say, the opposite of love is not hate, it's really indifference, right? And if they're indifferent to you, they don't respond to you, there's not much you can really do with that. All right. So anyway, that's it. Let me show you some of the messaging here. I'm just going to show you this one here. All right. So my email is catchy subject line. Now check this out, right? So notice here, this is really cool. So part of Tactical Link is we have the ability to put imagery into an email and to personalize it, right, with the name. So, for example, here's actually an example of one here with the name. Actually, I don't want to pull up here's an actual email that I still have open. So this email I have, actually, this guy from Pablo actually responded and set up a call with me for next week, a discovery call. We call it a disco internally. And that was actually to this email here, which is not running now, but in essence, that's this email here, right? So it's nice to meet you, Pablo. Nice to meet you. It could be nice to meet you, Kevin. Nice to meet you, John. Nice to meet you, whatever, right? And so it's personalized. It's all it is. It's a pattern and a rough. And a lot of you guys have seen this actually in some other email tools. So this isn't an Outplay tool. This actually is our tactical link that integrates with Outplay that does this. But you can also do this like a lem list. They have this ability to do this. We do things like put the name on a whiteboard, the business name, etc. And I'll show you some examples of that. But we also could do this in LinkedIn, which is pretty cool, right? But let's move past the imaging. Let's talk about the messaging here, right? So when they accept a message from me, what happens? Just want to reach out and thank you for connecting with me on LinkedIn the other day, right? Referencing that. I figured I'd introduce myself in a way that showed I was interesting, witty, and clever. Alas, I wrote this email instead. Here goes nothing. Hi, I'm David Ways, professional. Here's just a bit tongue in cheek. For those of you who think this is not professional, this has dramatically increased my response rate. So it works quite well. Then here what I'm doing is I'm showing my my credibility, right? Founder of the Digital Headhunter, sales and marketing agency, yada yada yada, and I make a joke, which is why you're now regretting opening this email and seriously toying with the idea of deleting it without a second thought. Before you do that, let's get down to brass tacks. And again, trying to get their attention. You should be informed that I'm a 20-year executive recruiter, operate an active firm right now, and I'm a member of Sanford Rose, a top 10 retained search firm. We've helped over 300 rockstar firms all over the world, and here's my value prop, and help them 2 to 5 times their booked sales calls every month. A real piece of value. All right. If this opening gambit of getting on your radar is successful, I have to ask, what's stopping you from booking more appointments at company with executive decision makers in your niche? All right. Now here's kind of interesting. Here's kind of break this message down a bit. Actually, let me pull up the that one from Pablo here that I sent, so you can see this actually working in an actual email. Bear with me here. All right. Oops. By the way, my subject line on this one is catchy subject line, right? Again, I'm just trying to get attention. See, here's a great thing. Here's the thing about emails or just copy in general. Copy, in essence, for those of you who don't know, copywriting is the words on the page, right? Again, the reason why people talk all the time about short emails, because they suck at writing emails. They're not at grabbing, right? So instead, they're offering like, hey, I've got this great candidate. They're trying to see if maybe they have a need for this candidate or they have a need for a recruiter in the moment. But again, it's tough when a lot of people are reaching out to them with in essence, the same emails. So when you look at, oops, that's really big. So let's take a look at this. Right? Let's break this down. And we'll get to hyper personalization in a second because this isn't even the personalized stuff. All right, I'll show you that here in a minute. The purpose behind good copywriting is simply this, is to get them to the next sentence and deliver some sort of emotional impact, okay? Think about the emotions that you need to switch in their head to get them interested in you, right? First off, you got to get their attention. Yeah, you can do that via pain-based messaging, which I use a lot, although this is not it. But this is just a different version of what I do. You can do it through humor, which is what I'm doing here. You can do it through through benefit-based messaging, right? Here's the benefit I give to my clients. What you don't want to do right off the bat is talk about you, because they don't give a shit about you. They care about them, right? So here's what we do, right? We're going to break this down. Try to get you down LinkedIn, and there's one where they didn't accept, right? Saddened to hear you didn't accept my heartfelt invitation to connect. He didn't connect with me on LinkedIn, right? He declined it, right? Declines, the webhook goes out and sends this instead, right? No matter, I'm making an appearance in your inbox, and in essence, the same message I had before. Determined to introduce myself in a way that shows I'm witty and clever. Alas, I was email instead. Here goes nothing, and this is my kind of enlarged here, but nice to meet you, Pablo, right? There's that. And so I got his attention, obviously, and I'm being kind of funny. That's the whole point of this, right? And I'm being funny throughout, putting my LinkedIn address here in case he wants to go in and reconnect with me, your connect request, right? And here I'm going to go, hey, here's what I do, right? Again, I'm trying to be funny to keep him engaged, because if I'm not including this funny stuff, he's not going to be engaged. He's going to delete this thing. Let's get down to brass tacks before you delete this, right? Here's interesting note, which is why you're now regretting opening this email and seriously toying with the idea of deleting it without a second thought. What I'm doing here, I'm being cognizant of his reality. I'm saying, look, I get that you get a lot of these emails and you delete them all. In essence, what I'm saying. But before you do that, so I'm showing an attunement to his reality. Is really key in prospecting, by the way, right? So now I'm going to do what's called trying to show Pablo what I call a status delta. Okay, now this is where I do talk about me. So this is here's basically the concept behind status delta. Imagine a police officer were to come into your office, right? Or somebody dressed as a police officer. Actually, let's not even talk about that. Let's say someone in a suit knocks on the door, right? You open the door, and that person in a suit asks you a question, right? That may be a personal question, or asks if they can come in. You'd say, hell no. But if that person in a suit then took out his badge or her badge, flipped it open, and turns out FBI, here's the badge. Would you be more likely to listen to what they have to say? Probably. That's what they call a status delta. It's basically flashing the badge, right? So what happens is when you're prospecting, and if you if your whole pitch is like, why I'm the best, I've got 20 years experience, I'm this, I'm that, you're going to lose them. They don't care. But if I engage them, get them interested, right? And then once they're interested, then flash my back, say, hey, by the way, here's why you should listen to me. That's when talking about yourself is effective. It's called status delta. All a status delta is a recognition of expertise or authority in a marketing, relationship, I suppose you can say, right? So it's why it's the reason why if you guys ever watch a webinar, right, and they do like the learn the 3 secrets, right, and then you go into the webinar, and then before they get to the 3 secrets, you can spend 20 minutes listening to their backstory. As annoying as that is, the reason why they do that is because what they're doing is they're flashing the badge before they get to the 3 secrets, because they want you to recognize not only their story, where they come from, but their authority and why you should pay attention to what they have to say. And the amount of people that they lose during that time is made up for by the increased amount of sales on the back end, because they've flashed the badge, right? It's also why in your demo calls, or let's say you have a discovery call or a sales call of some kind with a prospect, it's always important to remember, always flash the badge before you get to your presentation. Hey Bob, I appreciate you meeting here, and today we're going to be talking about ABC. You lay down the agenda. By the way, before we get into that, let me give you some context here. All right. So a bit about us, and then you do your really quick 1 minute, how awesome we are, to flash the badge, and then you get down to brass tacks, which is talking about them. The purpose of it simply is, even if they already know your expertise, you got to make sure you flash it real quick at the appropriate time, right? That's what I'm doing here. I'm flashing the badge saying, hey, I'm not some lead gen guy that's never been a recruiter before. I'm a 20-year executive recruiter. I'm doing it right now. I own an active firm. I'm a member of a firm that's a top 10 ranked retained firm. That's a lot of credibility, right? And in my marketing agency, we've helped over 300 firms, all rockstar firms all over the world. Oh, and here's the benefit. Boom. I can probably bold that, probably a little bit better. But I 2 to 5 times their book sales calls every month, right? And then I simply say, hey, look, I know the question, which is designed to get a response. Instead of saying, hey, um, and you should always answer the question, by the way, what's stopping you from booking more appointments with, in this case, this company, with executive decision makers in your niche? That's all I'm doing, right? That's the anatomy of like an email. And obviously, you don't have to follow this exact anatomy every single time. Although, do keep in mind, you don't want to flash a batch too early in these. Get their attention. That's the main thing, right? I'm going to show you some other examples of the personalization, by the way, because I think they're pretty nifty, and they've certainly increased our response rates significantly here. Somebody asked, why do we hashtag live? The reason why is just simply because the more people I get to hashtag live or comment, like, and love, it drives the Facebook algorithm, and then it appears in more people's news feeds, and the more people see it, right? So it's simply for that reason. It's the mechanically gaming the algorithm in essence. Let's see. Somebody said, have you received feedback on video messaging, both in email or LinkedIn? Yeah, I get a lot of people that like it. I'm not sure what you mean. Have I received feedback? But I do use video messaging, both in email and LinkedIn. We'll cover that too. We're going to be covering that when we talk about the spear. And by the way, if you guys are just joining again, hashtag live, hashtag replay for watching the replay. Like, love this thing. Okay, let's drive that algorithm up, please. All right, so let's take a look at, bear with me here. I'm going to move this over, and we're gonna show some examples of personalization, right, with our tool, Tactical Link. Let's see here. So this is David Cohen. He's actually working with me in the Kinetic group, my search firm. When somebody connects with us, that's sent automatically with their name, right? Again, they connect. What happens? 30 minutes later, they get this in their LinkedIn inbox, which is crazy. We're one of the only tools that can do this. And it gets a great reply rate. All I want them to do is reply, right? This is so this is one I use for when I use the most in email and LinkedIn. When I've sent like 4 or 5 messages, they haven't responded, I rickroll them. In fact, one of the messages I say, in fact, I might even be able to pull it up here actually. And let me look at this campaign. And I think this one, steps. This is an awesome tool, by the way. So my message basically is in this one, it says, never going to give you up, first name, and never going to let you down. I told myself I would never rickroll a prospect before, for those who know what rickrolling is. Yet this is what you're giving me to, first name. Expecting the timing may not be right, I offer some training. Hey, which one would you like to see? Have a remarkable day. And then what happens is I send this, and I just rickroll the prospect. It gives me a lot of responses for those who know what rickrolling really is. Even those who don't think it's kind of funny, right? This little thing of little gif of Rick Astley. Let's see. This is you guys may have seen this today. We're actually about to go roll this out into my outbound, our top of mind prospecting for prospects. Buy milk, send Kevin our new training. If you want to use something like this in your practice, right? Reach out to hiring managers, right? It could be buy milk and remind. If you're reaching, like an IT director, remind Bob about whatever, hiring the best candidate. Whatever you want to do, you got to be creative with this stuff. But this is an example, right? Let's see. This is a coffee cup, just a single image with the name on it. Hey, we do a lot of virtual coffees. So we do this in our tactical clients. We reach out to hiring managers. Hey, would you like to have a virtual coffee? And actually, one of the approaches we take, by the way, on a little side note, which really is pretty effective. Think about hiring managers, right? Like a director or VP. What do? Their whole goal is to build the best possible team to drive the best results for the company, so they can then improve their own career, right? So they can be successful. Well, if they can't hire the right team, it affects their own success in that organization and just in their career in general. So with that said, somebody just put drive the algorithm. Yeah, hashtag drive the algorithm. Let's do that. That'd be awesome. If they are getting hit up all the time from recruiters saying, hey, I got anything we can work on? You need help? You need help? Da, 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 da. There's no value in that, right? So one of our approaches we take with our tactical clients, we say, look, uh, do you have a personal board of advisors? Most of the great leaders that we speak with, or that are really successful, have their own personal board of advisors, just like a company, right? So with that said, uh, we are talent advisors, right? Think about this. Any great leader needs a talent advisor, both for their own personal career, right? If they're looking to become, like, say, get to the C-suite and it's a VP, well, they probably need a headhunter in their back pocket, a talent advisor, as well as the having a talent advisor in their back pocket to help them build a team. If they get hired in at a new company, who do they need? They need somebody who's going to help them build a crackerjack team so they can then be successful and show their new employer, hey, hiring me was the right move, right? And so we offer, hey, are you open for a virtual coffee? We can discuss, and we send that image with the name in it, right? You know, Krishna, Bob, Sarah, Susan, Evan, whatever, boom, right there. And it looks, very, very personalized. Let's see. This one I like. This is Amy Schumer one. Stay calm, Kevin. Remember your training. This is like I'm off from people training, and I'll send that in an email. This is one of our clients. This is one of their coffee cups. This is my coffee cup. Great to be your network, Kevin. Cheers. Got my little logo there for the digital headhunter. This is a follow up. Kevin, did you get my last email? Oh yeah, and I'm going to show you how you can even build one yourself. So let's say I put in some text here, and I just say, and what I want to do is I'm going to say, so I'm the SAP market, SAP rock stars, and we'll fix the color on the thing, make it bigger. SAP rock stars, love working for, and I'll put in like merge tags, business name, right? All right, and let's go ahead and make this. And after this, guys, I'm going to show you the actual spear because this isn't even the spear yet, right? I'm going to get to that here in a second. So let's, I guess, open sans. I like Avenir black, and we'll make this white. It's just more noticeable, and I'll make this bigger, like that. All right. Boom, boom. All right. So pretty easy. And so I'm going to go ahead and save this. Yes, my public. Let's preview this. So let's say I send this out to, I don't know, Campbell Soup as MRI Network. So let's say Campbell Soup update. There we go. And that could be like an automated thing, whether it's a LinkedIn, email, etc. It's just a way to get their attention. That's all it is, really, right? Anyway, so that's an example of some of the cool automations you could do and the imagery that helps garner a response from your automation, so you could then hyper personalize. All right. So with that said, before I go into the rest here, I want to see if there are any other questions before I go into the what I call the spear. All right. Let me take this off of share for a second and take a quick drink some coffee. All right. I don't see any questions here. By the way, if you're commenting, I'm looking at the chat for the Headhunter and Executive Recruiter community chat. So if you're on my Facebook page, normal page, or my business page, I'm not seeing the chat. So if you have a question, go to the Herc live and then throw your question in there, and then I'll see it. I just can't monitor several different lives at once, unfortunately. And the tool I'm using, the platform for the stream, only shows me the one chat, which is from the group, just FYI. All right, so let's move on and let's talk about the goal of this thing here. So generally speaking, when I'm reaching out, right, and I've got these LinkedIn messages going out and the email messages, and they're funny. I'm really trying to be humorous. One of my favorite lines I use is my last message didn't garner a reply, so I'm returning to your LinkedIn inbox with a renewed vigor. And I love that first line. Again, I'm on this humor kick lately, and it's been really working well. Right. Again, is just to get a response. That's all I'm trying to do. All I'm trying to do, right? So response rates have gone up dramatically because of this, of the imaging and the humor, right? But ultimately, we need to discover, do they have a pain that we can fix, or do we offer a benefit that they would want, right? Obviously, right? It's not just about being the funny man. So I'm always asking, again, what's stopping you from booking more appointments with decision makers, right? Stopping you from hiring the best of the best talent out there. Maybe it's for sales hiring manager, right? Director of sales. What's stopping you from knowing that every single time you hire a sales rep, they're going to be a consistent superstar for you, right? Whatever you say, just try to end it with a benefit, a question about a benefit or solving a pain or something like that, right? Now, so let's say they respond. Sometimes they respond with, "Oh, that's pretty funny," but they don't give you anything after that, right? Or they respond like, "I'm not interested," or out there they say, "Yeah, let's book a call," right? Because I've gotten their interest. So my sales process is generally this, and this is the sales process we teach in Accelerator and Tactical, and my boot camp as well. Everywhere I'm really a big fan of of having a very defined sales process. Most people generally don't. At least most recruiters generally don't. Sales process is simply, I want to book a 15 to 30-minute call just to do what I call discovery. Let's see if this makes sense to move forward, and then we book a demo after that. The demo is showing them what your services are, right? For recruiters, their general sales process looks like this. Somebody says, "Yes, I've got a position open. I need help recruiting for this." And they get on the call. And what do? You're asking questions about the position, and they take a job order. And then after they take the job order, and obviously they ask some zinger questions in there to prove their authority, right, or to show that they're kind of above all the other recruiters, and then they clear their fee. Well, for to work with me, it costs, or the investment is this. Da, 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 da. By the way, whenever you clear your fee, always say the investment. You never say we charge. Service fee, don't say. We charge, don't say that. The cost is, don't say that. The prices, don't say that. The investment to hire a rock star for your team, or whatever you want to say, right? But the investment to benefit is that. Remove the word price, remove the word cost, remove the word service fee, remove the percent, remove all of that from your language. It is always investment, just FYI, always investment. And if anybody ever gets on the phone with me about my services, I'm doing the same thing to you. It's always investment. I never ever say cost. Okay. It's just little tiny things that can make a difference, right? It's just subliminal things, right? The investment to benefit is boom, right? Now, that's the sales process for most. My sales process, what I prefer, is to not go and take the entire job order. I don't know if it's gonna be fit for me. At the same time, just taking a job order does not sell them on why they should use me on an engaged service, or et cetera, right? So what I want to do is I simply want to book a discovery call, right? And so, hey, let's just jump on the phone for a few minutes. Let's see if it makes sense to work together. And here's the kicker: if not, I'll get you pointed in the right direction. Actually, even better than that. Let's jump on the phone, quick conversation, and you can pick my brain about blank benefit, and we can see if it makes sense to work together. If I can help you benefit, I'll tell you exactly how. And if I can't, I'll get you pointed in the right direction. What that does is it takes the pressure off, because what you don't want is for them to think, "Oh, they're going to sell me," right? You always want to let them know that you may not offer your services, and you maybe point them in the right direction, right? There's a reason why people have to give you free vacations and free cruises to have you sit through their proposal for a timeshare. The reason why, because people don't like to be sold, so they're literally paying you to sit through a presentation, right? Why? Because you don't like to be sold, right? Because it's a high pressure sales pitch. So you want to take that away, right? This is not high pressure at all. In fact, I may just be pointing in the right direction. Let's just see about what you need. And from there, on your discovery call, flash your badge, give you some context, you do all that stuff. And you ask questions about, well, tell me what you're looking for. What's going on here? How long have you been looking? And what are you looking for exactly? I mean, I'm curious, how long have you been looking for somebody? Interesting. So what are you doing right now to hire this person? You're using 2 firms right now. So I have to ask, if you're using 2 firms and it's been up for 3 months, why haven't you hired somebody yet? Right? Trying to find pain. Really? So what's going on there? Are you finding the candidates are screened correctly? Have you, oftentimes we hear contingency search firm, they take the job order and then you never hear from them again after they submit a couple of candidates. Has that happened? I'm trying to find out, is there pain, right? I'm not going and taking the whole job order. I'm trying to find out there's pain. And if there's something that says, okay, and in doing that, I want to get them to feel the pain. And if it's something I can help with, I can either then take the job order then and present my services, or what I prefer to do is schedule the next call, because oftentimes I like to run through a demo, right? I like to have like a slide deck and all that. Depending on the situation, if it's the digital headhunter, yes, I'm definitely doing a demo. If it's like the Kinetic Group, which is taking a search, then it's more about, maybe take the search, or we can run through a demo and do slide deck. It depends on their situation. If it's like multiple positions, more like a project, then it might be more of a slide deck situation versus not. You're gonna have to figure that out as you design your sales process. But really important that you actually have a process. So what we do is when someone responds and they want to book a demo, we've got a booking link and they book it, or we book it directly. And what happens is the email I send confirming this, confirming that the call, sets the agenda. Thank you for booking the call with me. Really excited to talk to you. By the way, we'll be speaking about, and I lay out the agenda, A, B, and C, whatever, right? By the way, here's some information on us and what we provide. And then I shove down marketing material in front of them, right, in the email. So I send in my offer sheet. I send in maybe a guide or a lead magnet. I'll send in, oh, by the way, we're also a top 10 retained firm. Here's the actual PDF of the list. So it's just legit. What am I doing? I'm flashing the badge, right? I'm taking every opportunity I can to flash that badge. In fact, I want to show you one of the documents we use that we send over on the for on discovery call for Canetta. All right, and this is our Rockstar solution, and it goes into what we offer, but really what it does though is like it goes over my service offering, like down here. It's long. Don't get me wrong. Here's how we operate. Here are the 4 pillars that we rest our service on. Here's our solution, etc. I'm not expecting them to read this whole thing. They may not, right? But I want to make sure that during this time, I am talking about, look, these are the challenges you face as a lead. So I'm talking about pain. Here are the challenges you face as a leader, right? Here's what traditional recruitment is broken. Here's how we are fixing this, right? I'm trying to separate myself out from all the other SAP recruiters out there that are selling the exact same thing. They're putting an S in a C. I'm showing them, here's why you're experiencing some of the problems that you may be experiencing because of the way recruiters typically work. And this is how we're different. Again, they may or may not read the entire thing. That's okay. Some do, some don't. But I'm at least putting this in front of them. Why I'm front loading as much as possible how we are awesome. In addition, I've got a video. If you were to actually, this is a guide that's it's a new link, and this is a guide that I also give on here it is, which is a guide on picking the right recruitment partner, right? With 10 questions they should ask every single firm, right? So that is part of this as well. I also, hey, by the way, we have a, here we go. We recently had a search with Ernst & Young. Here's a example of a company lander that we created for Ernst & Young on this search for, right? So I do that because, why? Because I want to name drop, right? And I'm showing my expertise. Oh, by the way, if you want to learn how to conduct a bulletproof interview, check this out. This is our video on how to conduct a bulletproof interview. And there you go, right? And so this is, so anyway, what I'm trying to say is I'm front loading as much as possible, right? I do the same thing on the recruitment side, right? I try to front load as much as possible for the digital headhunter. I send out, like I've got, for example, I can pull up here. Oh, let's see. Let me pull up my, I'll send over this. I'll send over my 3-day sales guide and templates, right? I'll send that over. I'll send over, a starter pack. I've got a I have a starter pack here handy. But I've got a starter pack, which is like the same thing as the offer sheet I show for the Connect group, which in essence, let me see if I can pull it up here, and I'll show you what that looks like. And if anybody wants a copy of that, I can send one over to you. Hold on a second. I'm just looking up the file here. And then once we do this, we're going to take a look at the spear. Okay. Starter pack. Let's see here. Oh, here it is. Okay, there we go. So this starter pack. So this is what I send for those who may have an interest in working with a digital headhunter, right? Which is, my marketing agency. And this is our starter pack, right? This is basically similar to the other one. It's kind of a similar format. I talk pain and his situation. Oh, by the way, I'm throwing in. Hey, by the way, here's a lot of client love. Why our clients love us so much. Blah 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 blah. If you want to download the Lighthouse method, you can download it here. Here are our programs. You can take a look at some of this and see how awesome we are and how polished we are. We are different than anything else out there. So I want them prepped, because if they book a call just because you had a good message, it doesn't. They may book call with 3 or 4 other firms, right? Those are the firms that say search the recruiters they book calls with. May not probably don't send them anything, right? But not you. You're going to front load it. That's why it's really important for you to think about this. Your marketing material, like all your marketing assets, get those ready. Like those, you need to have those ready to go, like bullets in the gun, to be able to just throw them out there. I've got a slide deck I use. I've got this. I've got tons of documents. I've got videos. I've got, and again, you may be starting with nothing, and it's kind of hard to build all this stuff up. But it starts like how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time, right? You can do it. We offer that training in the accelerator as well as tactical. Actually, in tactical, we do it for you. But having said that, you could do this yourself as well. You just need to get as much marketing material together as possible. And you want to front load this stuff as much as possible, right? When you book a call, that's part of the hyper personalization. Okay. So when they get on the call with you, whether they read it or they didn't, that impression they have in their head is like, God, this cat's a step above. Holy shit. Okay, this guy's serious, right? That's the idea. Now, with that being said, before I get into the spear, I'm about to get into the spear. Anybody have any questions? Let's see here. Cass says that is amazing. Cass, you are amazing. Let's see. Have you found the difference between response between clients and candidates? Yeah, I mean, candidates respond more often for sure. I mean, because with candidates, you have something in hand. I've got this job, right? So obviously, the candidates always reply much more. If that's your question. So email platforms and everybody's monitoring client emails at the same time too. Yeah, this is I am actually. So let's talk about the spear. Okay, so now I'm gonna share my screen here again in a second and show you some examples of what I mean. But let me talk about the concept here of the spear. Okay, again, imagine you're the young lady at the club. That's the example I used before. Young lady at the club, and you're gonna hit on all night. Got a boyfriend, not interested. Ignore, because it's just smoke screen. It's a defensive mechanism, right? And then you get a tap on the shoulder, and you're like, not interested. And then you hear and then he walks around you. Hey, by the way, I noticed you sitting over there, and you look and like, oh my God, it's Brad Pitt, right? All of a sudden your demeanor changes, or George Clooney, or whoever, right? That's the idea. That's where you give them the opportunity to say, oh, before you say no, hold on a second, right? That's the idea of the spear. Remember what I said about having all these marketing materials handy? The more you can get, remember that anatomy I showed you, right? Where I said, okay, let's open up with a maybe humor or possibly something that's an attention getter image, something like that, right? And let's talk about, hey, here's what we can do. Right, here's why you should listen to me. Here's my authority, right? Here's my badge. Listen to this, right? And hey, let's set up a quick call. And you're not asking for much. You say, let's just do a really quick call. I might be able to help you out if you're feeling this pain. If I can't, I'll point you in the right direction, taking the pressure off. Okay, that's what I mean by a spear. So I'm going to show you what I mean by that. So let's say somebody responds And I'll show you how to do it for the digital headhunter, right? Some of the responses, not interested, because they get hit up by a lot of lead gen people they don't know. They may not know me from Adam, right? They're probably not in the group. So what happens? I send an email, and in the email, what I do, I've got a screen recording app called Dub. You can use Berrycast. There's Loom, which is a free version, whatever you want to use. And what I do is I do a quick analysis of their website and their marketing copy. I say, hey, you know, Bob, I saw some issues with your site. I thought I'd shoot you a quick little screen share and show you some things you could fix potentially, right? And I've got an actual spreadsheet that I like. It's almost like a grading sheet that I fill out, right? Or fill up a piece of it. And I say, hey, I can't fill out some of this because I'll talk in that sheet. I mentioned, like, you know, do you have this? Do you have that? Do you have, what about your email sequences? And so I say, look, here's how you can fill out the rest to really make sure your marketing ecosystem is on point. Everybody gets a low score, by the way. So I say this, and it's maybe a 5-minute video, if that. I put the video in the email. It's usually it's a GIF. I take a screenshot of the assessment. I put that in there with a link to the Google Drive of the assessment as well. So I do both. And then I say, by the way, here's what we do, benefit and pain that we solve. And by the way, here's some credibility. I'm an active recruiter, 20 years in the business, part of a top 10 retained firm. We've held over 300 clients across the world. You know, and I may say, hey, by the way, here's a link to a case study. Here's a link to our starter pack. Here's a link to some templates, right? Here, and I just shove everything in there to where if they see this and they're still not interested, there's nothing I could do at that point, right? And I send it in an email. Now here's the key, right? Once I send that, so let's say that they say no, I'm not interested. Before I reply, I go do that, and I've got templates I use, which I cannot share here because this is free, but I do this it's an accelerator and tactical, also bootcamp, right? I don't want to piss them off, but you can create your own. You just use the framework. So I send this over email, okay? And then I go back to their original response, which could be LinkedIn, could be email, whatever. I say, hey, Bob, I hear you, but tell you what, I just shot you a personalized video because I saw some issues with your website, with some of the copy or marketing, whatever I say. So I just sent it to you over email. Here's the subject line. You may not see it if you don't check your spam folder. The reason why I do that, because it's more likely to hit spam because of all the pictures and the GIFs and the links, right? So I just say, hey, go check your spam folder because it might be in there. I started doing that from experience because I saw it going to spam a lot. So I just did that, and then it increased my response rate. So there you go. Go check your spam. So you do that. LinkedIn. Send another. You can also go and call them. Hey, Bob, don't worry about calling me back, but go check your email. I saw some issues with blank. Go check this, check your spam, da, da, da. If this is something that can help you, have a chat with you for a few minutes, and we'll get you pointed in the right direction if I can't help. You know, you take the pressure off, da, da, da. That's the spirit, right? It's long, but it's designed to deliver maximum impact. That's the point behind it being a spear. It's long, and you're supposed to drive it deep, right? And then, right, and that's a manual email. And then an outplay or milkshake or quick mail or whatever system you're using, have follow-up. So 3 days later, follow up, and you have the main email in the copy, right, in the email string. Hey, float to the top of your inbox. Did you see this? Hey, making sure you got this. Hey, making sure you got this, right? And that's how you do a spear, right? And that's the concept. That's how, in essence, you can combine automation with this designed to elicit a response. And then, based on the response, you then spear them. Now, how would you apply that to your situation? Because I know you guys are not selling marketing services like I am. So how you would do that is you go to the job. So let's say, for example, you're reaching out to, you know, I don't know, Campbell Soup Company, and they have a product manager position opening. No, they do, right? And you reach out, and they're like, right, because they get a lot of solicitations. Like, so what do? You're like, oh, hold on a second. They may not know I'm the Brad Pitt of search firms. Well, let me spear them real quick. And you've got the templates, and you knock it out in 10 minutes. Super quick for you, but to them, they're like, oh my God, no one's ever done this. and you go to the position, right, posted, and what's going to happen? Their position posted is likely going to be a crappy job description. It almost always is, right? So you do a quick screen share and say, and you're messaging, you say, hey Bob, before hold on a second, I happen to see some issue with your job description. I shot your personalized video showing you exactly how you can fix it, how you can really attract the top caliber talent, because usually with job descriptions like this that are stock and cut and paste, typically, usually HR, they're not going to get the job done. Give this a few minutes, watch it. Hopefully you can fix this. By the way, if you want additional help, happy to do so. Here's some credibility. We do this, we do this, we do this. Here's a guy. Boom, 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 right? The easiest way is simply go to the job description, which usually sucks, and just run through a quick audit. Well, you can fix this, you can fix this, you can fix this, right? Pretty easy, right? That's how you would operate that. And then there's some other things that we do. I don't want to disclose everything necessarily, because I've got a lot of paying clients that pay for this stuff, but I want to just kind of give you the general thrust of it. And it's quite effective. So that's how you combine personalization or automation that is designed to elicit a response. Then based on the response, and you go hyper personalize, right? Do the same thing with candidates, right? Because you may get people that are like, no, I'm not interested, right? Imagine you have a job and you reach out to 100 people, right? And of those, maybe one or two say they're interested, and you get a fair amount of people to say, no, it's just not a fit for me right now. Well, that candidate who responded to you likely has said no to a lot of people, right? If they're a .NET developer, man, they're getting hit up all the time. So of course they're going to say no. So your response is, before you reply back or you go on to the next candidate, say, hold on a second, and go and do a spear, right? Go to their LinkedIn profile, right? And if you have a screen share someone's LinkedIn profile and you send them the GIF of that, like where they see like the image of it on their LinkedIn profile and your face is like in the corner, they're pretty likely to open it. What are you doing on a LinkedIn profile? Hey, Bob, I appreciate your reply. Definitely get it. But, I was on your LinkedIn profile and I had a couple of thoughts. Check out this video or whatever, right? And in the video, talk about maybe have the job description up or your company up and the LinkedIn profile. And, hey, Bob, one thing I noticed here, and I think that you should really sell it, right? Because you're trying to get them to pay more attention and say, well, maybe this is a good opportunity, right? Again, right? You're basically tapping them on the shoulder saying, oh, hold on a second. Before you say no, did you know I'm Brad Pitt? Or did you know my client, I'm representing Brad Pitt? Before you close the door on this deal, you may want to listen, right? That's what you're doing. You want to pump your brakes before you completely walk out the door. That's what you're doing. That's the purpose of the spear, right? Now, having said that, could you do that instead of the automation? Yes. I mean, you can, let's say you've got a company you really want to get into, you get, say, 10 target companies, spear them each time and don't even do the automation. You can even do that too, 100%. But here's the thing, recruiters aren't doing this because it's a bit of an effort. It takes effort. Like, it's not, most people watching this right now will not do this. I guarantee you that. The ones that do will see a higher return. But just like anything, right? If you want to get in shape, you got to go out there and do squats and do some deadlifts. It's not going to just come naturally. You're not going to do 7-minute abs. And next thing you know, you've got a Greek physique. It doesn't work like that, right? You got to get in the gym and get dirty and do the work and eat right. But when you do, man, you're going to look good come summertime, right? On the beach. That's the idea behind the spear. So anyway, Cass said, we should coin that on the Brad Pitt of search firms. And I'm also the Brad Pitt of marketing agencies. So anyway, hopefully that makes sense, guys. What I want to do though is this. So there's a lot of folks out there that are going to ask, for one, how do I get Tactical Link, right? Which we can sort of talk about that. How do I get into Accelerator where I learn all this stuff and all and everything else? Or how do I get on Tactical where we do a lot of stuff for you? So here's how you can do that. If you are interested in getting a price on Accelerator or Tactical, go to that website. So thedigitalheadhunter.com/assessment. Okay. /assessment. and you'll fill out an assessment, and you'll book a time with myself or my growth advisors, and we'll walk you through the entire process. Accelerator is done with you, right? We train you. We're there for support. I got a technical team that can answer your questions, etc. And tactical is like the same thing, but we do a lot of it for you, and we manage it for you. So that's accelerator and tactical. If you want to go through training, go to my website and /training and have a training on the very same thing. If you are interested in tactical link, which is just the link to automation tool paired with the imaging, right? And then with that imaging system, and you can then pair it with whatever email system you use, right? If you're interested in tactical link, hit me up here. I'd say probably the best thing to do is reach out to me, right? I don't have a site set. I don't have like a special sign up form for it yet. So all I have to do is email me at david@thedigitalheadhunter.com. All right. Or you reply in one of these comments and I'll reach out to you and send you a link where we can set up a demo. Happy to do that as well. Okay. Anyway, with that said, that is it for me, everybody. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the presentation. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the training. If anybody needs a replay on this, I'm going to delete the Facebook Live after probably a day. And I'm going to use this and then I'm going to have a replay I'll send out. Somebody wants a replay on it, let me know. All right. All right, folks. Yes, and worth every penny, by the way. Thank you very much. All right, everybody. Thank you. I love you all. And I will talk to you later. Peace out.